So it's good morning from the Athlete Biosecure bubble at the 2020 Virgin Money London Marathon, and welcome to the winners press conference. You can see some of the highlights on the screen. The fantastic performances by Nikita de Boer of the Netherlands, Brent Lakatos of Canada in those closely contested wheelchair events. You can see turning into the final straight, a real sprint, a dash for the line. It was all about tactics throughout the race, a fascinating battle, and David Weir looking to that 9th London Marathon victory, but it was the speed and power of Brent in that closing part of the race, and their fantastic speed and pushing by Nikita throughout the race. And there's Brent's big smile at the end, and look how close it was between the first 5 athletes across the line and the fist pump. And there's Nikita turning into the home straight, crossing the line. 1 hour 40 minutes on the clock. Manuela Schär in second place, 1 hour 41. So wet conditions for the wheelchair athletes definitely played into the tactics out on the 19.7 lap course. And here they are up on the stage. So delighted to have Nikita de Boer of the Netherlands, and we have Brent Lakatos of Canada. So welcome to this winners press conference. So just to remind you, this is a socially distanced virtual press conference. Everyone here is still wearing their bump technology, or it is around in the facility to ensure that we stay 2 meters apart, that we have done throughout the week here in our location. Before we begin, please can I mention a few housekeeping notes. Please submit your questions to the Zoom chat. I will call on the media to ask the questions to our top table of our champions. Please keep your camera on throughout, your microphone off, but please turn your microphone on when you're asking the questions. So I'm delighted to have our winners up on stage. I would be delighted to ask the first question to Nikita. Was yesterday the biggest win of your career?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, it was a really good win, and I didn't never win before, and it was my best race ever.
So when you woke up yesterday and saw the weather, did you think it could be your day?
No, no, I don't train a lot in the rain, and yeah, I thought I hope to do good, and that was it. Just try everything what you can.
Brent, question to you. A lot of the pre-race talk was around Marcel, around David, his 21st London Marathon. Did you have plans of spoiling the party in the week?
Yeah, my training had been going well, quite well all summer long, and especially over the last month. And so I knew I had a chance, but with the conditions what they were, you never know what's going to happen. People are more likely to puncture, and so I just wanted to get in there and give myself a chance to let my training pay off.
Thank you, and I think we can throw now to our first member of the media, Alison Hamlet.
Hi, thanks. Yeah, I have a question for Brent. Just want to ask what David Weir said to you as you crossed the finish line yesterday, please.
Yeah, he was just congratulating me on a good race. I think he mentioned that it was a sprinter's course, and I wouldn't disagree with that at all. It was a nice flat course with all the sprints thrown in, so it was a marathon that had lots of changes of pace, and that worked to my advantage.
Thank you.
And I think we've got Mike Rowbottom. Mike?
Hi, hello. Question for Brent. Actually, just on the point you raised there, Brent, David did mention it was a sprinter's race, and
I think you just cut out there, Mike. Do you want to repeat your question?
He's frozen on the screen.
I think Mike's frozen on the screen.
He's back.
So obviously, the camaraderie between the wheelchair races, is that something that you obviously you're friends on the circuit, but does the rivalry obviously go out the window, or become more of a factor on race day?
Yeah, of course. We see each other several times a year. I've trained with Marcel. I've raced quite often against Dave living here in the UK. And so, yeah, we're friends. We'll see each other in the hotel. We'll say hi, how's it going, that sort of thing. But on the race day, all that's out the window, and whoever can win on the day is what's going to happen.
Brilliant. Mike, I think your connection's back. Are you there again, Mike?
Sorry, yeah, I'll try again more briefly, I hope. Brent, David name-checked you yesterday when you were saying, before the race rather, when he was saying it was going to be a sprinter's race, and he was absolutely right. Can you explain why he said that? What does it mean it's a sprinter's race, and how did it work for you?
Yeah, I think there are a couple different levels to that. Number one is it's a very flat course. And so there's no hills, there's no technical elements, and that favors somebody like me. I'm not as big or as strong as those guys to go up the hills and manage those. The other side of it is what the marathon accumulator sprints throughout the race. And not only were those intense sprints, which took a lot of energy and you had to recover after, but it really slowed down the pace of the race, I think, because people were preparing for those maybe even a couple of laps before they happened, trying to get in the back of the peloton, slow down the race so that they'd have the energy it took for the sprint. And so, like I said before, it was a race where the pace changed a lot, and it wasn't a long, grueling sprint to the finish. It was lots of short, sharp sprints, and that favors somebody like me.
Question to Nikita. Obviously, every athlete over the last few months have gone through different journeys in terms of training. How have the last few months gone? Obviously very well yesterday, I assume. But how did you find the last few months with no racing and the difficulties to training?
For us, it was not that really difficult because we were still allowed to train outside, and since May we were allowed to train at National Sport Center. So since May we can train with our coach and our teammates, and yeah, I trained a lot of the road. So for me, that's really nice to do, and have a lot of speed and train for marathons. So
I think we've got Alison Hamlet again. Alison.
Thank you. Yeah, a question for Nikita, please. Could you just talk a bit about the reaction you've had back home since your win yesterday? I know you were quite surprised when someone told you it was the first win for the Netherlands, so it'd be lovely to hear about that, please.
yeah, I get a lot of reactions on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and everybody was really happy and crazy about it because nobody thought I can do this, and me that I thought I could do this. And yeah, it was really good to see it for wheelchair racers in the Netherlands. It's going up, and more medias want to say that you win. So
a great day for the Netherlands, and obviously a great day for Canada, but we can claim as the Brits a little bit of your victory now that you're based in Loughborough. Does being an honorary Brit with the weather in training, has that helped you, Brent, yesterday?
Yeah, of course. This is pretty typical British weather, isn't it? And also just the fact that I didn't really have to travel. It was just a 2-hour drive to get down here, and so yeah, that definitely helps.
In terms of your preparation over the last few months and the last 6 months or so, how has that been affected, and how have you balanced things around everything going on?
Yeah, it's been pretty okay for me as well. I've been able to, I do lots of my training on a circuit which is closed. It's the Everyman circuit at Presswell Hall, and they let me get out there on Sundays, and so I'm the only one out there. I don't have to worry about any social distancing or anything, so I've been lucky in that my training's been relatively unimpacted.
Brilliant. Mike Rowbottom again. Mike?
Hi, yes, a question for Nikita. In her pre-race press conference, Manuela mentioned when the subject of the rain came up, she mentioned how she didn't like it, she was a good athlete in the rain. Did you hear that, and did you take any kind of comfort from it, any encouragement?
I think Mike was asking in the pre-race press conference, Manuela was talking about, I think the difficulty or the braking due to the weather. Did you think about tactics with the weather, and is it obviously something that plays into your strengths?
No, I don't train a lot in the rain, so for me it was not just a technical thing. We had just try something and ask Brent for some clister, and it was really good and had a lot of grip. And yeah, just try what you can do for that moment.
At what part of the race did you start to really grow in confidence and think, I'm going to win my first Abbott Marathon Major?
Just the last 2 laps when Manuela was really going slow down, and yeah, the first corner after the start, I was looking back and then I didn't saw her anymore, and I thought, okay, I can win this now, and yeah, then I was going faster and wanted to try a lot of a huge PB and a national record, so I want to do fast.
You want to go faster?
Yeah.
In terms of tactics, watching you guys out there, in such close proximity with the number of turns on the course, what was up for grabs as well? You seem to hold your nerve, obviously, better than anyone. What were you thinking in those last few laps, and were you conscious about getting in the right position and obviously making sure that you made the right final push to the line?
Yeah, so I think it was maybe the second sprint where I opened up a big gap on the field. It was either the second or the third, and that gave me a lot of confidence in my ability to sprint and kind of be faster than the rest of the field on that day. And so on the last lap, I knew that if I could use that speed and be in a good position, then I could take it. And so that's why I went to the front in the last lap, so I'd have the inside line on the final 2 corners.
And obviously timed it to perfection. I think we've got Alison again, Alison Hamlet.
Thank you. A question for both winners. What difference did the lack of crowds make yesterday? We know the conditions were really hard, but the lack of spectators, it would be great to hear a little bit about that, please.
Yeah, Nikita, how did you find the atmosphere? Obviously no races for a number of months, but obviously finally being out there, but no screaming fans on the sidelines.
Yeah, it was different, and now I can hear my coach to say, yeah, you have to do this, or you have to do that, or go faster. So that was really nice. Normally, with a lot of people around it, you don't hear him. So.
And Brent, the same for you?
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit the same answer. Both of our coach, Arnaud Moule, was right on the final turn, and so we could hear him encouraging us, and the other coaches the same way. It was definitely different. Normally in the London Marathon in the past, I've been with the lead group for at least part of the race, and it's a constant stream of "Go Davey, go Weir," and that was missing. But in general, it was really well done, and I don't think the organizers could have pulled it off any better than they did.
Well, also yesterday we had 45,000 runners and competitors competing around the world doing their virtual marathon. Do you have a message for those people that went the full marathon distance?
Yes, I guess just thank you to them. A major part of the Virgin London Marathon is the charity aspect of it, and without all those people, that wouldn't be possible. So thank you.
Yeah, it's really nice that a lot of people do the virtual marathon, and yeah, it's just crazy that we can do this now here, and that they can do it over the whole world. So.
Well, we were delighted to have you in London this year as part of the 40th race. You are 2 champions. We'd obviously love to see you back defending your titles next year. So I think there's no more questions from the media, I can see. So it's a big thank you to our champions, Nikita de Boer of the Netherlands and Brent Lakatos of Canada. We will be sanitizing the stage, ready for our second press conference of our winners today. Back shortly with Bridget Kosgei of Kenya and Shoa Kitata of Ethiopia. But again, a big thank you to Brent and to Nikita. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a mic check test, testing the levels. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Those watching, we are 1 minute away from our elite men and elite women's winners press conference. So welcome back to the Athlete Biosecure Bubble at the 2020 Virgin Money London Marathon, and welcome back to our winners press conference for our elite men and elite women. We are delighted to have our champions, Brigid Kosgei of Kenya and Shura Katata of Ethiopia. So just to remind those that have come in to this press conference, it is a virtual press conference where everyone is still wearing their bump technology and we are staying 2 meters apart. Please, can I mention a few housekeeping notes? So submit your questions into the Zoom chat, and then on the media function, we'll ask you to ask your questions. So please turn your microphones on then, but only then have your microphones turned off. So we're delighted to have our 2 champions. I will start with a question to Brigid. Your second time of winning London, how does it feel to be a 2-time London Marathon champion?
I was happy. I was really happy because last year I was position 1 again, and this year I was position 1 again. And the other year I was position 2, and Vivian was position 1. So I was happy because I have did my best and finished good. Of course, the weather is difficult, but I try my best until I become winner. So I am happy with my race, and I'm happy again to be a winner. Yeah.
And Shura, second in London in 2018, second in New York in 2018, but now an Abbott Marathon Major winner. How does that make you feel?
Shura New York tulet kuda saddeet bara digdama kuda saddeet lammaffaa baatee Londonittis baruma san lammaffaa baatee amma meejarii mo'atteerta maaltu si dhaga'ama isa kanaaf?
Ani bara 2018 fi 2020 kana keessa 2018 lammaffaa ba'ee meejar maraatoonii 2020 kana immoo tokko ba'uu kootti. Baay'ee bakka atileetota ciccimoo atileetota gurguddaa wajjin wal dorgommii kana gaggeessaa ture. Wal dorgommiin kun illee baay'ee ulfaataadha. Namoonni wal dorgommii kana irratti hirmaatan illee namoota ciccimoo namoota gurguddoodha. Baay'ee isaan wajjin faayitii akkanaa godhee wal dorgommii kana sadarkaa kana ba'uu kootti baay'ee gammachuu guddaatu natti dhaga'ama.
First of all, 2018 I got a lot of experience for yesterday winning. As you see on the starting list, very strongest athlete was there. I fight with them in the lastly I won this race. I am very happy to arrive in this position and to this title. I am really happy, it says.
I think Simon Hart has a question. I think you're on mute, Simon. Hi, Simon. I think you're on mute. I think we'll go to Peter Gillibrand whilst we're waiting for Simon to unmute his microphone.
Hello, Peter Gillibrand. Congratulations to both of you. And yesterday, no doubt, will go down in the history books as a race, you know, during the pandemic, 45,000 virtual runners as well, battling through the wind and rain. I know I saw hundreds around Cardiff. Just how important was it that the London Marathon was held yesterday? And do you have any messages to all of the virtual runners across the 109 countries?
So, Bridget, obviously the last few months has been very difficult for everyone. How happy were you that London was still able to organise the marathon?
I want to say thanks for the race organizer, thanks for the London, which makes us still alive to still competing in this race of London. Again, it's too hard to prepare this marathon because of this COVID-19. Everywhere in the world is just seeing a London Marathon. How will it go? So and I hope we did good yesterday, and we hope by the end of this year everything is okay, and by next year we will prepare ourselves well. And again, I want to thank everybody in this country, making us proud, cheering each one of us on all the way. I'm really happy again.
And Shura, you might not have been aware, but there were 45,000 people around the world all running the marathon. Do you have a message to them for also running the same distance you ran yesterday?
Addunyaa irratti yeroo kana kaleessa yoo ati fiiddu sani namni 45,000 fiigaa ture. Namoota London maraatooniin dorgommii kana qopheessuudhaaf namoota sanii immoo waan jettuun qabda namoota fiiganii fixan saniif siimaan qixxee fixanii saniif wanta jettuun qabda sin jedhu.
Namoota kanallee egaa bara kana barri keessa darbine baay'ee ulfaataadha. Isaanillee dhukkuba bashitaa koronaa vaayirasii kana baay'ee dhukkuba addunyaa guutuu kana raasaa turedha. Akka carraa ta'ee sababa bashitaa kanaan illee atileetota haga fiigaa turan kana 40,000 wayii jettan kana isaan wajjin otoo nageenyi biyyaa jiraatee illee wal arguu hin dandeenya ture sababa bashitaan ulfaataan kun jiraatee fi wal arguu hin dandeenye nama muraasa wajjin wal arginee asitti wal dorgommii kana gaggeessinee isaanillee bakka jiranitti haamileedhaan gammachuudhaan dorgommii bakka jiranitti akkan fiiguu isaaniitii fi bakka gammadneen jedha.
First of all, I willing to say for those people yesterday finishing the race the same distance with us, I willing to say congratulations. Again, this year, as every of us we know, we face a lot of problem with coronavirus. I am very sad. Those people, they are our investors, and we did not meet them here. They did not, in the finishing line, they did not greet each other for every of our runners. But for the future, I hope we become in normal condition and we will see each other for next marathon, London Marathon. I want to say again, congratulations for every of you.
Thank you. We hope so too. Let's go back to Simon Hart. Simon.
Oh, hi. Can you hear me now?
We can, yes.
Perfect. Okay. I have a question for Shura. Can you tell us a little bit about your background, where you come from, how you were inspired to take up running, and maybe a bit about your personal life now? Are you married? Do you have children?
Yeah, so a little bit of background about our champion. So, Shura, tell us a little bit about your background. Okay. Are you married? Do you have children? Yes. How did you start running?
Me dubatti deebinee seenaa kee baay'ee wanta barreeffamneef mee waa'ee kee fiigicha akkamitti jalqabdee maatii qabda fuuteerta moo daa'ima qabda moo mee waa'ee kee nutti himi siin jedha.
Duraan dursee egaa haalaan dura keessa ture yoo maatii koo bira jiru maatiin koo qotee bulaadha jechuudha. Isaan wajjinan ture mana barnootaallee naannoo keenyatti akkana naannoo kiiloomeetira 5 akkana 6 kanaan ta'aa fageenya nurraatiyyuu mana barumsaa achitti barataan ture. Yoo mana barumsaa dhaqullee fiigichaatiin yeroodhaan dhaqee yeroon galuudhaaf fiigichaatiin dhaqaa yoon galus akkanuma fiigichaatiin hangala mana barumsaa irraati yeroon galutti. Isaa booda manneen barnootaatti dorgommii adda addaa hin qopheeffama mana barumsaatti. Dorgommii sanallee yoo qopheessan dorgommii sana irratti illee nan hirmaadha. Dorgommii sana achi ergamu adhee bakka biraatti nan darba. Achumarraa ka'een gara fiigichaatti lixee jechuudha. Fiigichatti gaafa lixuuti bakka jaalalli ispoortii keessa kootti uumame. Isaa booda bakka barnoota haga ta'ee baradheetan fiigicha duukaa bu'e. Kanaan immoo waa'ee maatii koo yeroon baradhu sanatti baay'ee maatiin koos baay'ee na deeggaraa turani. Yoon barumsa dhiisee gara fiigichaatti deebi'us immoo na biraan hafne deeggarsaan baay'ee na gargaaraa turani maatiin. Haamilee naa kennaa turanii jabaadhu maal dhabdee maal barbaaddaa naan jedhu caammaan haga humni isaanii danda'etti naaf bituu uffata fiigichaaf ta'ullee aga danda'an numa naa wanni jedhu haamilee ittiin baay'ee na duukaa bu'anii anis immoo hojii koo duubatti hin deebine haala hojjetaa ture ittiin ittuma fufeen hojjedhee amma immoo maatii nan qabaa daa'ima 2 nan qaba. Dubara lachuu.
He said my family, the farmers, in rural area. In this rural area, my home far from school, 5-6 kilometers. When I go there, every day in the morning and when back to the home, I did running. I start from that point, and the school organized some races. In that races, most of them I win, and more of my teachers, my families, everybody is encouraging me to run as a runner of club like that. But I did not thinking even one day I can arrive in this situation. But lastly now I arrive in this position, and I'm very happy. Now I am married, and I have 2 kids. Okay, or both of them is ladies. Very, I think one of Idimeni Sani Megami.
Daimno. Toko galama, toko mo refo gafit.
One is 2 years and the one is 1 year years old.
Thank you. Go to Alison Hamlet.
Thank you. A question for Bridget. We heard on the TV coverage that lots of people in Kenya were watching the races on big screens. Can she just talk a little bit about the reactions she's had from home since winning London a second time, please?
Bridget, how happy are Kenya that you are champion again?
I hope Kenyans they were very happy because they were cheering me, and I want to say thank to them. I want to say thank again to my fans, my coaches, my management, and those we were them during London. I want to say thanks to everyone who supported me, and coaches and my teammate in Capsite. I want to say thanks again. Yesterday I had a lot of people cheering me in the whole hall, so I'm happy. I'm really happy, and I hope next year I will do my best to try my best again. Thank you. I just want to say thanks again for them for cheering me. Yeah.
And Mike Rowbottom.
It's a question for Shura. When he made his break near the end of the race, when there were still 8 men in the pack, did he expect Kipchoge to challenge him? And how surprised was he that Kipchoge only finished 8th?
So how surprised were you that Eliud only finished 8th? And what were you thinking when there were still 8 people in the group and you were helping to push the pace?
Yo Kipchoge saddeettaffaa bahu yoo sardaffaa bahu yoo ati immoo namni saddeetii haftanii puushii gootu maaltu si dhagaamee maal honnoo jettaa?
Kipchoge baay'ee illee nama dandeettii unuutii olli sirriitti qabudha. Akkasumallee nama jaalatamaaf nama kabajamaadha. Inni dandeettiinsaa baay'ee dandeettii olaanaa nama qabudha. Nama sa'aatii 2 gaditti fiigeen Kipchogen jechuudha. Garuu namichi kun guyyaa kaleessaa kana dorgommii wal dorgommii fiigame keessatti haalli qilleensaallee rooba hin qabaa, baay'ee ulfaataadha. Atileetonni fiiganillee atileetota gurguddoo, atileetota ulfaatoodha. Kanaaf immoo namicha kana baay'een sirrittan jaaladhaa. Otoo anillee biddeena waan ta'eef malee akkan jaalalasaa qabutti illee otoo dabarseefiu baay'ee natti tola. Garuu dirqama immoo ispoortii wal dorgommii waan ta'eef homaa gochuu hin danda'amu. Kanaaf mudannaa isa mudate illee haala isaan beekne kaleessa sadarkaa kana bahutti illee baay'ee natti dhaga'ame inni sadarkaa kana keessa bahutti. Garuu immoo inni boruu har'a mo'ame jedhee yaada of keessa gashuun qabu boruu nama fiigee mo'atuu danda'u waan ta'eef itti akka ittiin dhaga'amneen jedha.
First of all, I willing to say about Kipchoge. Kipchoge is the greatest person in this world, and he did in his life more than science. He did sub 2 hours. Science says nobody can run sub 2. Again, Kipchoge in his life, he changed our sport from nothing to some level. He is our hero. He is our winner. When yesterday if yesterday I give to him my position, I am very happy. But this is life. This is a sport. Even in my heart, still he is our champion. He is our person can win again and again. I want to tell to Kipchoge, today is he missed to win, but tomorrow he can did more than yesterday, and he can win again London and the other Olympics. I appreciate what he did before, and I am still, he is my hero, and he is on my heart big places, and I say for him, no problem, we are together, we can work together again more years.
Thank you. Let's go to Andy Edwards.
Yes, thank you. This is a question for Shura. Psychologically, do you think you and the other top runners will still consider that Eliud Kipchoge is the #1, the boss man in the marathon, as he has been for recent years? When you're next on the start line and he's there, will people still think he's in charge? Because he clearly has been in charge of the marathon. Or will that perception, that view of Eliud, change because of yesterday's defeat?
Is Eliud still the king, or is there a new king?
Aga amma Kipchogen kingin amo kingin bira si'i jedheeti si gaafate. Aga amma Kipchogen dandeettima isaa akkuma durii jiramo kingidha, nugusa athleticsdha moo maalidha?
Dandeettiin isaa akkuma duraa jira, garuu guyyaa kaleessaa tasa wanta nama mudatu hin beekamu, mudannoo tasaatiin ta'uu danda'a malee baay'ee atileetii kaan irraatii atileetii addaa jedhamee nama ilaalamudha dandeettiin isaa.
Still Kipchoge is a king of us. Every time he is king of us, even if we beaten him. Yesterday, the weather condition, I think the weather is affecting him too much. But he is king today, and tomorrow he is king of athletics.
Jora, when you race Eliud again, will you be confident that you can beat him and win again?
For the future? Okay. Kipchoge wajjin yoo amma achi wal geette isa wajjin dorgomtee himmoodha jettee yaaddamoo maalii akkamii isa wajjin yoo dorgomtee deebite?
Eegaan illee isa waliin yoo dorgome anillee qophaa'ee dhufaa akka atileetii nam tokkotti jechuudha. Innillee qophaa'ee dhufaa achiitii gaan illee namoota dhadhee dhufa. Innillee namoota jedhee dhufa. Waan ta'eef abbaan mo'atu beekamoo jechuudha. Akka haala hojii keenyaatiin yoo narraa hojjetee dhufe inni mo'ataa, waan isarraa hojjetee dhufe immoo mo'atuu danda'a. Kanaaf irraan achi amma ana mo'ataa isatu mo'ataa murteessuun gaafa wal dorgommii lixamee kirriin cite.
today I cannot say I can beat Kipchoge or Kipchoge can beat me. Why? Kipchoge prepare himself. If I can prepare in a good way, we will compete and we can chase each other, and we will see that they will give us our result. I did not say today I can beat Kipchoge, Kipchoge can beat me. I did not say. That one is we live for God, and the God can give us our position in that day.
Thank you. A question from Cathal.
Hi, wanted to ask Shura, I know Bridget's kind of answered this question already, but to Shura, wondering why you think it was so important, I guess, for you athletes that this race happened this year, because I guess for a long time it looked like it might not happen.
So to Shura, difficult times, and at times it looked like there would be no big marathons before the end of the year. How important was it that London happened?
Bara kana keessa meejor maraatooniin hin jiru aga waggaan kun gulat shi'aan aga dhumutti hagam importantii si ta'e kun qophaa'uun isaa dorgommiin kun qophaa'uun isaa
baay'ee qopheessitoota dorgommii kana akka addunyaa guutummaattuu sababa bashitaan kun dhufee addunyaa guutuu raasaa ture dorgommoonni baay'een hedduun bakka dorgommoonni kaanselii ta'aniiru. Garuu dorgommii kana qopheessitoonni dorgommii kana kaayyoo keenya addaan hin kunnuu jedhanii dorgommii kana waan karaa danda'amu of eeggannootiin dorgommii keenya gaggeessuu qabnaa jedhanii warroota dorgommii kana gaggeessanii fi atileetota dorgommii kana irratti fiigan bakka jiran hundaattuu jechuudha. Uummattoota naannoo kana jiraatan hundumaa niinuu galatoomaa dorgommii kana qopheessitanii kana irratti hirmaachuu keenyaanii abdii guddaa nutti hortanii galatoomaa ulfaadhaa sinan eebbisaan jedha.
First of all, this race is very important for athletics. As all of us now, we pass a big challenge time in last 8 months. Now, London Marathon organizing race in between this coronavirus and inviting us here and there, try to keep our healthy to do these races. I willing to say for London Marathon organization in the even for those people they run in virtually, I want to say thank you to come back to compete again as professional races. I willing from my heart says thank you for London Marathon and the people who ran in the finish the races yesterday.
Thank you. And a question again from Mike Rowbottom.
Yes, a question for Shura. I think last year you said you didn't have a proper breakfast and you suffered in the race. What did you do differently for breakfast this year?
We joked offline about what he had as the breakfast of champions. I think it was eggs. What did Shura have on the morning before he went out for his London Marathon victory?
Barat ingadda kursinya tewan sitin tollefi barana kana muwachuudhaaf kursi akkamiin nyaattee maal nyaattee ka barat ingaddaatiirraa adda ta'e maal nyaattee
kursiin ciree irratti nyaadhe kan akka shoorbaa deebisee kan akka daabboo kan akka muuzii kanallee kan akka urgoo kanallee sirriittan fayyadame bar'een gaddaa nyaatallee too nyaatiin kaadhee sababa hir'ina nyaataa too ganama qursii ciree Tanya Tiwan kat dia ni de fite tigari fidun dan denya.
Indi lufte.
Karate. Belu anak uname baka jijirun dan denya radar.
Last year I had very few breakfast and in the last part I cannot able to change when the other athlete can change the races, they run speed. I cannot able to run equivalent with them. This year, I had in the morning forage, banana, again bread. Already, what I learned last year giving me chance to prepare myself to eat something in the breakfast.
It worked. Let's go to Andy Edwards, who has a question for Bridget.
Yes, thank you. Bridget, given the conditions, it was probably unrealistic to expect records yesterday, but you won in 2:18. A year ago, you broke the world record in Chicago in 2:14. I wonder, can you compare how your body felt? You won in both races, different weather conditions, but to run 2:18 and then 2:14, can you make a comparison how you feel the day after each race?
Bridget, did the weather yesterday make your time slower, and how does your body feel today compared to when you ran 2:14 and the world record?
Yesterday, the weather is not good because there is coldness and there is a wind on the way in some kilometer. Again, there is rain again, so it's too difficult to run with rain and coldness. Sometimes wind there, so it's a hard race for yesterday, but I did my best. I did my best until I make it. It's not like last time. Last time when I ran London, it's just no cold. It's just okay like today. But I wish the weather it was like today. We could run better than yesterday. Yesterday we just trying to chase the record of Mary Kaitany, which is 2:17:01. But it become hard. It become hard to chase that record because of the wind and the coldness and some rains. So it's hard, but I confirm to do my better.
Today, how does your body feel after your 2:18 marathon win yesterday?
I feel my body is okay. It's just a little pain in some part of the leg only. Yeah.
Have you warmed up? Because it was fairly cold yesterday.
Yeah, I did some of the exercise in the room to stretch a little bit so that I could not be stuck my leg.
Thank you. And I think we've got Mike Rowbottom with another question for Bridget.
Oh, yes, the question was, did she ever doubt that she would win?
Your preparations for this race, were you confident of winning at London again?
You know, everybody's a winner because everybody's training and everybody is doing good in our own way. So me, I just come here to run my best time, but not to win only, just to lower my little time. Like for last year, I just wanting to lower this year, but it's not easy to reduce it. But I hope next year I will try my best.
Thank you. And a question from Matthew Brown.
Thank you. A question for Shura. After the race yesterday, Shura, you mentioned that you received advice from Kenenisa Bekele. Can you tell us a bit more about that, when you got that advice, and what kind of things he said to you, and how much it helped you during the race yesterday?
Shura, in your interview yesterday, you said that you had some advice from Kenenisa in the week about the race. Can you tell us more about that advice and what he said to you?
Kaleessa interview keetii irratti kananii isaanii akka dorgommii kana mo'adhuu fi na gorsee jira jetteerta. Maal jedhee akkasi gorseef agam akkasi gargaaree nu ibsuu dandeetta sirriitti ibsitee nutti himuu dandeessaa?
Egaa kananii isaanii akkuma dorgommii qophaa'aa turreen guyyaa muraasatti gaafa galuutiin illee balaan dingata tiraakii yoo ta'u jennuuti lukti butamee onneedhe achumarraan baay'ee lukti dhukkubaa ture jechuudha. Yooni luka kana yoo agasitti wanni lukti kun na dhiise dorgommii kana waliin fiignaa haalattiin fiigdullee sittan himaa jedhee yoon wakkaa lukti kun na dhowwe immoo isa sittan himaa yoon fiigee walumaan jirraa sittan himaa haalatti ittiin dorgommii kana fiiguu dandeessu yoo lukti yoo na dhukkubes immoo sittan himaa waan ta'eef fi jabaadhu naan jedhee yoo wal dorgommii fiigdu bishaan illee seeraan fudhadhu. Bishaan akka fudhatteeni yeroo muraasa turtu malee afaanitti abbuuqqattee kaate daqiiqaa muraasa turiitii liqimsii deebistee immoo akka atileetonni sin xanneellee of eeggadhuutii irraatii siqiitii deemii diingata xalafanii si kuffisuullee hin danda'uu sitti bu'aniiru jedhe achii deebisee immoo sa'aatiin taane daftee ganamaan fuuldura baatee qilleensa illee hin gaffa'iini miidhamtaa peesota cina gortee iyyuu wanniin jedhiini erga peesonni deemanii akka erga sa'aatii kennameef fixatanii booddeeti yoo humni kee jiraate bayii deemiiti ilaalinaan jedhe yoo ijoollonni si wajjin deemanii wanniidhaan immoo keessatti duubatti deebi'iitii walumaan deemii kiiloomeetira 35 ol darbinaan immoo akka bayimarra duubatti hin deebi'ini naan jedhe yoo akkana goote carraa mo'umsaa parsantii 90 qabdaa naan jedhe ennaan anillee waantuma inni na gorse hundumaa isallee sammuu kootti fudhadhee asalxaanyonni koollee dhukkuba bashitaa kanaatiin qabamee achitti na biraa hafullee yaadaan irraan asee silkiidhaan bakka daawwalee baay'ee nillee yaaduma kana na deeggare.
First of all, Kanenisa is my training mate, and when we train in track, he had a small injury. The injury looks that time very small. We every of us did not thinking the injury arrived in this point, but in the last part, when 1 week before the races, after he feel if this my leg give me chance, we will compete together. If I did not participate, I will advise you how can you win these races. What he told me is the first thing, don't push like other races what you did before in the beginning. Try to wait in the last parts. This course is very stranger. Maybe somebody is pushing you and you can fall down. Please don't run in front up to 35 kilometers. In 35, after 35 kilometers, try how you feel. If somebody can run with you again, don't push again in the weight. The last part of the races, what he advised, I use what he advised me. I try my best, and I can. When I arrive in 40 kilometers, I saw myself some energy inside of my legs. I push it, and I am sorry also my coaches affected with COVID-19, and he did not arrive with me from here, and he advising me before the races how can I run these races, and their advice helping me to win these races. I want to say for both of them, thank you again and again, and I willing to them healthy again, and together we can succeed other races for next years.
Thank you. And I think our last question from the media, Cathal, I think you've got a question there.
Yeah, it's just a question to both athletes about the lack of crowds. It was a very unusual situation this year, and I'm wondering how was that experience to run in virtual silence, I guess.
Bridget, you've won in front of lots of crowds. Yesterday, no spectators. What was it like for you as an athlete?
In this race, you must be keen because of COVID-19. So everyone must be distantly, so that they will not be affected by that virus. So I was really happy because they take a social distance in order to avoid contacting with the COVID-19. So I like that because if the crowd is too large, most people will be affected. So it's better to be distantly in order to take care, so that maybe next year will be more crowd with cheering us. Yeah.
Yesterday there were 45,000 runners running virtually around the world, the marathon distance. Do you have a message to those runners waking up today with sore legs, but they've completed the marathon?
I just ensure them that thank you for being with me, cheering me. Again, I want to say thanks, and hope I did good yesterday. I do my better, but I hope next year we will still be together. If that pandemic will be reduced, and we will still cheering together again. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think we've got a question from Simon Hart.
Yeah, just one quick one for Shura. You mentioned about your coach testing positive for COVID. I just wanted to ask how he is. Is he healthy? And have you been in touch with him since your win? What was his reaction?
So Shura, your coach was not able to travel because he was found to have COVID. Is he okay? And have you spoken to him since your fantastic victory?
Asaltaanin kee koovidiin qabame asin dhufne inni akkam jira maalirra jira agaaf mo'atteen booda waliin haasoftee durallee ashatatu natti himamne jedhiiti kana
durallee akkuma qaba mirmaraa gallee wanni enneen walumaan seenne bakka mirmaraa jechuudha. Erga yooni irraan asee qajeelullee hin deemaa naan jedhani nan deema jedheen illee jechuudha. Silkiidhaan wal argine malee qaamaan waliin argine. Erga boolee ga'ee immoo hafeeraa naan jedhanii ani gaa akka inni dhukkubni koronaa kun qabee hin beeku. Garuu namoonni biraa dhaga'aniiru natti immoo akka tarii mucaan kun rifatuu danda'a wanta jedhamu shakkii of keessaa waan qabaniifi bashitaan kun akkasa qabellee natti himne erga wal dorgommii fiigee booddee dhaga'ee jechuudha. Erga dhaga'ee immoo haalli inni keessa jiru haala bareedaa. An baay'ee of eeggataa ture haala koronaan sadarkaa manaa ba'umsallee tibba dhufe sanatti baay'ee nu dhowwee baay'ee sodaannee of eeggataa ture. Ani shaakalallee erga dhaabneeti tureera bakka koronaan dhufnaan shaakala guruppii waliin hojjetaa jiru. Gillii kootiinuu yeroon hojjedhu naannoo namni jiruun hojjedhu kophaa gara bosonaa deemeen hojjetaa ture. Gadi ba'anii waantota adda addaa bibbitachuuf illee baay'ee of eeggannoodhaan jiraataa ture jechuudha.
First, we had the COVID test with my coach. In that day, my coach is with me. We are talking together. Nothing is happening. But after that test, I did not see him in physically. Only he called me every day. He asking me. The other assistant coaches is with me, but I did not see him. I think he, up to the flight day, nobody telling me about he is affected. But when before he told me we go together, no problem, like that he says. Maybe he thinking I am shocked about this one. And in airport, I call him, and he told me, I made something, problem family cases. I did not fly with you. Maybe for Saturday or Friday, I will come to London. Even the athlete of here, already most of there is here about it, and nobody telling me he is affected with coronavirus. But when I did not see him, nobody told me. And after the races, I told him he affected. He is very shocked immediately. For this preparation, completely I afraid to don't affect it and to lose these races. I miss most of training, our training partner, our training mate, but to arrive to this position, the competition is not only with athletes. The competition is we against coronavirus. Okay, but we beat coronavirus, and we can compete these races. And also, I am winner of these races. I win today two things: coronavirus and the London Marathon. By that case, I am very happy, and I want to say again and again, thank you for everybody who cheering me yesterday.
Thank you. So it was a few days, obviously, before Shura travelled that he'd actually seen his coach. Is his coach okay health-wise now?
His coach is very okay. Only before he is okay, like every people, and only him. We test together. Even I was there. He loses only. He cannot smell anything. Perfume he tried nothing. He saw only that change. He is now very fine. Nothing. Before he was very okay.
Thank you. And I think we have a question from Alison Hamlet.
Thank you. Yes, I would just like to find out from Shura what was going through his mind in the sprint finish. It was incredibly exciting for everyone to watch at home when Vincent Kipchumba and him went kind of head to head. So can you remember what he was thinking about on those last few strides before the finish line?
Shura, one of the closest London Marathon finishes in the 40th races. What was going through your mind in the home straight? Did you realise how close Vincent was to you?
London Marathon Duro marra meetira dhibba lamaan booda nama sadiini saniin booda viinsaniin wajjin kakeenichaa wajjin turtanii hagam yaadda mataa kee keessa hagam waa'ee dhumni sun?
Yoo jedhamu sadarkaa dhumaarra bakka finishiingii san. Finishiingii irratti humna paawarii guutuullee qabadhee waan nan dhufeef finishiingii sirriitti waan nan deemuu nan danda'a. Yerootiin illee kiiloomeetira 38tti kan bahee akkatti yeroo deemu yoo paawarii fixadhee hin deemne sa'aatii sanatti jechuudha. Yoo ijoolleen sa'aatii finishiingirra ga'anii dhufanii natti ulfaatu barbaadanii paawarii seef godhadhee dhufe finishiingitti jijjiiruudhaaf. Kanaaf akka mo'adhu garuu achitti xamaneera.
Okay, all days I saw my engine can react something in 38 kilometers. I start to push in 38 kilometers. When in the last part, when I see my legs can react better. And even what I say, very stranger race, three of us in the finishing line. For me, everybody, every three of us is, if we can get position one, I'm very happy. Why? We finish like track races, very incredible finishing, and I succeed. Really, I am very happy to beat those guys, and I want to say for all of them, today is yesterday was other day, tomorrow is other days. Every of them can win tomorrow, and we are together. Thank you for everything.
Thank you. And that's all we have time for today. So a big thank you to Bridget, to Shura. Thank you to Haji for his translation skills. And we wish to see you again next year. So thank you for your support as part of the 40th race of the 2020 Virgin Money London Marathon. And that closes our press conferences for this year. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Superstar. Thank you very much. Well done. Well done.